Okay.
You know this?
I know how to mess it up.
No, but no, it's not.
Let's figure it out. Let's just go with this. Use it.
It's really a proper way.
I need it just on the camera.
Or actually, just put it down to the bottom. Just put it flat, and then just hold it on there.
Okay. Or you want to use my little thing?
Just like that. That's good.
Yes.
Hello. All set?
Go, baby, run. Do a little pep in that step. Perfect.
Okay, today we're going to start on Yud Tes Amud Beis, Maseches Kippurim. We covered some ground over the Yom Tov. So we're talking about the people that we thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. Of course, of our learning Hashem, Beis Hamikdash. 19b, right on the top. And starting for first time, I have one that needs father and Naphtali, Bela. So says Mechusar Kippurim, someone that did not bring his sacrifice yet because he was a Zav or a Mitzayra, he already went to the mikveh, but he needs to become Tar. So besides from becoming Tar, he needs to also bring the sacrifice, and he didn't do it yet. And until you do that, you're not allowed to do any service in the temple. You're not allowed to eat from kachim. You can't serve in the temple. Minalan, but how do we know that this is the case, that it will invalidate the sacrifice? Amar Abuna, what it says. Amar Kra. Pasuk says, "People are kain v'tehira." The kayan, thank you. The kayan will atone for him, and he will become pure. Tehira. What do you mean become pure? Mechlal shitameya. Obviously, beforehand he was impure. Oh, you were impure. Oh, I know the halacha about someone that's impure. I know that will invalidate the sacrifice because it says v'yinazru, that we had in the pasuk over the last week. We learned that v'lo yechalu, that you have to distance yourself from impurity and not to profane the sacrifice. So rachutz yadayim v'raglayim, if he didn't wash his hands and feet in the morning.
Enjoy it, sir. Enjoy it. So far, waking up.
Asya. So how do you know that if someone didn't wash his hands, it also invalidates Asya? Chukah muchasar begadim. We learn this from, it says chukah by washing the hands. It says chukah also by one that's missing, not wearing the clothing. So we learn from that. It invalidates the one that's missing the clothing, so it also will invalidate the one that didn't wash his hands. Tanur Rabbanan, Banan Abraisa. Kayin Gadol Shlei Taval. Shlei Kiddush being beged lebeged. We're talking about on Yom Kippur. The Kayin Gadol would change his clothing, he would have to go to the mikveh. In between the what's it called clothing, the linen clothing, the golden clothing. And also in between the different services. He didn't go to the mikveh and he didn't wash his hands. And he did the service, it's still valid. But let's say a kain gadol or a kain hediyat that didn't wash his hands in the morning, that's a different story. Avedase psula, then it's going to be. So the morning is more significant than the other ones. Amalei Ravasi le Rabbi Yechanan. Ravasi is a student of Rabbi Yechanan. Says this teacher, he says mechti. Chamish tefillah is ve'asara kiddushin da'iraisa v'chukah ksivbu li'akol. There's 5 times you have to go to the mikveh on Yom Kippur, and then there's 10 times you have to wash the hands. They wash the hands before and after the mikveh. So that should be ma'akev because it says chukah. If it says the word chukah, then chukah was one of these words that tell me that if you don't do it, it's essential. It will invalidate it. So Amalei, so Rabbi Yechanan says back, Amakra Levesha. says in the pasuk, and he will wear levishim akeves vein davarachim akev. It's only the wearing of it that's essential. It's not the washing the hands. Yeah, that's levation, right? The chukah is limited to elevation. Well, it's a good shot. Savupana, Rabasi's face starts to shine. Amarle, Rabbi Yechanan says, what are you so excited about? Vava ufta kasvilach. I just wrote for you a vav on a board that's split. Ufta is a piece of wood. So basically, if you look at wood, in the grain in the wood or in the splits in the wood, you have a lot of vavs there. This is, I just gave you a fake answer. I wrote a vav on a board that has all the vavs. Like basically, I didn't give you anything. So if that would be the pshat, then b'tzafar nami, then it should really be valid if you miss the morning washing as well, because if the levesham takes over the whole chukkah, that only the wearing of it is essential, but not the washing of the hands. And even in the morning, it should be allowed if he didn't wash his hands. Amar Chizkiya Makra, Chizkiya responds to this. He says, when it comes to the morning, so we say that it should be an everlasting statute for him and for his descendants. So which means anything that would be for the descendants is also as essential for him. If it doesn't affect the descendants, which means that in the morning, all Kayanim are going to need to wash. But it was only Aaron that needed to do the service on Yom Kippur, so that he needed to wash, but for a bunch of times throughout the service. So that's not ma'akiv. It's not the levesham that makes this distinction. It's basically all the kayanim versus the kayin gadol. I know, but we're saying it will be for them. No, this is talking about the washing of the hands. It will be for them, which means only something that's for them, an everlasting law. But that's going to be ma'akiv, which means the washing of the morning. Rabbi Yonasan says, Mihacha, I have another pasuk. It says, Rachtzim meno Moshe v'Aaron avanav, about the kiyar. The Moshe, Aaron, and his sons will wash from it. It doesn't affect the other kayanim, so it doesn't affect the kayin gadol as well. It's not essential. Now, so we have two psukim that teach me the same thing. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yonasan, my time, what's the reason that Rabbi Yonasan didn't say the same thing that Chizkiya says? Amalach. There's two psukim basically telling me the same thing. So Amalach, Rabbi Yonasan would say, that is a special halacha, that it wasn't only Aaron that needed to wash his hands, but all future generations need to wash. We didn't even know that. In other words, this pasuk is not teaching me that I can learn from it, that it's going to be ma'akiv, that just simply that they have to wash. I don't know that it's going to be ma'akiv. Again, I don't have a hekesh from this, the chukah or whatever. So what about the other way? I still have the other side. Why do they have to say what do they do with the other pasuk? What does Chizkiya do with the other pasuk? My time why didn't he use from Rabbi Yonasan's pasuk? He uses Rabbi Yonasan's pasuk for what Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina says. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina taught. Kol ki yashem by lakadosh haba kayanim imenu in mekadosh meishnem bebrachs menu Moshe Aaron uvanav. The kiyar needs to have enough water in it to be able to wash 4 people. If it doesn't have enough water, you can't use it. It doesn't have 4 people's negelwasser size, so then you can't use it. So, yeah. Okay. He uses that pasuk to teach me a different halacha, because it says Moshe Aaron Avanav, which is 4. Moshe, Aaron, and the 2 sons. Rabbanan. We're starting a brayse ketzad mitzvahs kiddush. How do you do kiddush yadayim v'raglayim? Doesn't mean kiddush. No. How do you sanctify the hands in the morning? Miniach yadei ayamanis agabe raglei yamanis. You put the right hand on the right foot. The yadei asmalis agabe raglei asmalis. You put the no, not the right foot in. He has another one, but the dry bones or something. Like this time we're talking about it. So the other asmalas agabe ragla asmalas. Then you put the left hand on top of the left foot. Mekadosh, and you wash. That's how you wash it. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda says, "Minech shtei yadav zol gavzu." You put the two hands one on top of another. V'gabi shtei raglavin on top of the 2 feet. Zol gabizu. Each one on top of the other. Mekadosh, and you do that all together. Amrullah, they said to him, "Heflakta, you're going too far over here. You have shalasiskin. That's impossible. You can't wash." Okey pokey. Okay.
I heard that.
Okay. So that was after the coffee handshake. It's impossible. That's a good
Yeah,
command.
he found it in.
He was also secretly.
Like this time's Gemara is color coded. The Shaspat.
Oh, you can do, you don't have.
Didn't they have a Levi to help them?
Oh, so 1 second. So it says first he says over here, you have shalaskin. Josh is keeping me on track. It says here, it's impossible to wash like this if you have 2 feet together and your 2 hands are together, and then you're someone to wash, and then to wash. How are you going to be able even to stand like that? The 2 feet and 2 hands. It's impossible to be able to do all that with you only have 2 hands. So Shapir Karmelite, the Gemara says they told him something good. What is Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda? What was he thinking? Rabbi Yosef a Chaveir Messiah. We're talking about where his friend is going to support him. His friend is going to help him.
The lady.
No, I don't know if it's a Levi, maybe another Kayan. Rashi's saying that the issue over here is that he's going to fall over. He has his 2 feet, one on top of the other, hands together. I thought what the Gemara was referring to was that if you have both hands like this, then you don't have another hand to wash. So Chaver Messiah would mean that we haven't got another client to wash you. But that's not what Rashi's saying. Rashi's saying that there's a concern that he's going to fall. Somehow he's able to get, with the 2 hands, he's still able to get the thing to twist it and to wash. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. Okay. I didn't look at any of the comments, so I don't know. My Benaya, what's the difference between the 2 opinions over here of Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, or the first opinion, the Tanakama? Gemara says there might be not. What's the difference between them? Amar Abaya, Amida min Hatzad. Now, Amida min Hatzad is that he's standing without support. According to the first opinion, with support. So does he need to stand without support? According to the first opinion, so he needs to be able to stand on his own without his friend helping him. That's why we had to learn it. That has to do with support. And according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, it's not a problem to stand with support. Amalei Rav Sama Breder Rav Ashi Ravina. Belesev Mesev Alakader. I didn't know we did that. I thought we don't allow him.
Oh, whoops.
Like Shmanase? You're not supposed to lean on something that if you would remove it, you would
I'll
fall.
see people lean on this tender. Is it just Shmanesri?
Yeah,
Or
Shmanesri.
any type?
No, Shmanase.
Or maybe I'm sick.
Yeah. So the Gemara asks, Rav Sama, Breder Rav Ashi asks Ravina, why can't he sit when he's washing his hands? The washing of the hands is a type of service. And if it's a type of service, then it needs to be done standing up. Yeah, it's a surprise, right? I could have thought that maybe the washing of the hands is preparatory, not the actual service. No, that's one of the services. If he washes his hands and his feet by day, he doesn't have to wash them again. If he wants to do some things in the base of Migdash at night, maybe he wants to bring up the chalavim, right, on the fire or something. They already washed in the morning. It's going to work. It lasts for at night as well. Unless, of course, there was Heschadas and everything else, all other possibilities. But without that, there's no problem. Balayla, he washed his hands at night. He still has to wash his hands when it becomes day. In other words, just the day itself, the switching, the transition itself means that he needs to wash. The very Rebbe, that's the opinion of Rebbe. The Rebbe Yomer, Rebbe would say, Lina mayelas b'kiddush yadayim raglayim. Lina means staying overnight. When does it become invalid? Something stays overnight by daybreak. So at daybreak, it affects the kiddush yadayim raglayim, and he's going to need to wash again.
With the bracha.
We
That's
didn't
the only
mention.
time we make a bracha.
No, we
is when
didn't.
wake up in the morning.
Yeah, but actually, when we wash our hands before, when we wake up, because we wake up before dawn, I think we're supposed to wash our hands again, even if we go straight to davening. When without has a, I think because it becomes dawn, we're supposed to wash our hands again. Did you know that? Yeah, when at the switch. I don't know if that means we follow Rebbe. Anyway, Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, there's no problem by it when it becomes daybreak. It's not a problem. You wash your hands at night an hour ago, or 2 hours ago, or 6 hours ago. It doesn't matter. Just because it became morning, it still continues. You don't have to wash again. Tanya Idach, we have another brisa. It says like this. Let's say someone is doing service in the temple on the Mizbeach the entire night, la'ira, when it becomes daybreak, found kiddush yadayim raglayim, the Rebbe has to wash his hands in the morning. Yeah. Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon Aimer kiven shekiddush yadav raglav mitchilas havayda. Once since at the beginning of this service, he washed his hands already, washed his hands and feet. Apil mikan v'ad asar yamim mein tzarich l'kadosh. Now until 10 days, he's set to go if he wants to serve the basic English 10 days straight. It's a long rotation for the the residents and the doctors. They work them like 48 hours for the kayanim for 10 days. He doesn't have to wash his hands again. The doctors have to wash their hands in between patients. It's tzricha, and it's necessary to say these two brises of Rebbe and Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon. It's necessary to say both of them, even though they said exactly the same thing. Biyashmin kamaisa, because if it would only tell me the first one, Bahi kama Rebbe, in that one, Rebbe is the one that says that you have to wash your hands again. The pasuk le'mi aveda la'aveda, because in the morning he was doing a different service and he was doing at night. So maybe it's because it's the two different services that he's doing that's what causes that he should have to wash his hands. Aval baha. But when it comes to the same service, if the service is going to take 10 days, maybe Rebbe would agree to Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon that for one service, you're fine. It's only when it's two different services. Biyashmin and Bahan, if it would only tell me the second one, Vakam, Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon. Over there, Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon says you don't have to wash again because it's one service. Aval Baha, but if you're doing different things, maybe we would agree to Rebbe. So it's necessary to say both. Tell me that the machlekes doesn't have to do with the different services, it has to do with the daybreak alone. That's it. My time of the Rebbe, what's the reason that Rebbe says that once it becomes daybreak, you have to wash your hands again? The ksiv begishtam. Begishtam means when they come close. And Gisha was in the morning. My time of the Rebbe Elazar Bar Shimon, what's the reason Rebbe Elazar Bar Shimon? The ksiv bevayam, when they come in. And when they come in, they could come in yesterday. They don't have to do it again. He never left. So it's not a problem. Okay, now, Be'idach. This is always what the Gemara does when you have you have a support for this one, support for that one. The Gemara says, well, what does he do with his support? What does he do with his support? What does Rebbe do with the pasuk of Bevayam, which Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's son? What does Rebbe do with that? They were chavusas, by the way. The Gemara tells us. Be'idach nami yaksiv bevayam. What does Rebbe do with bevayam? Iksiv begishtam. If it would only say begishtam, like iksiv bevayam, if it would only say Rebbe's pasuk, and it didn't say Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon's pasuk of bevayam, havamina al kol gisha v'gisha. I could have thought that even if you do on the same day several times, you would have to wash your hands for each service on the same day many times. So therefore, it says bevayam. Because Rahmana, the Eibishter wrote bevayam that when you enter, which means just when you enter is good enough. V'idach, what does Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon say? Do with the gishtam. V'idach nami aksiv b'gishtam iksiv b'vayam v'leksiv b'gishtam. If it would only say his pasuk and it wouldn't say Rebbe's pasuk of gishtam, avamina afilu abir reikanis. I would have thought that even after washing your hands, even when you enter, even if you're not doing any service, unless there's abir reikanis, What do you think? You have to wash your hands if you're not. Like Sivla Sharis, it says to serve, you would have to wash your hands. The Begishtam was coming to teach me something that Rav Acha Bar Yaakov taught us. And Rav Acha Bar Yaakov, Hakol Moedim Mikadasheni Kshu Lavash Mekadesh. We're talking about over here, the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, when he goes to the mikveh, when he changes the clothes. When does he wash? He always washes his hands before the mikveh and after the mikveh. When does he do the second washing of the hands? Not before he's dressed, but he does it after he's dressed. The Amar Kra, because the pasuk says Oy begishtam, or when he comes close to serve. Mishen mechusar elagisha bilvad. He only washes his hands when he's only missing the coming close. Yatzezeshem mechusar levisha elagisha. But if he's not dressed yet, then he doesn't have to wash his hands yet. Okay. L'hak derisha lamali. Why do I need the pasuk that says to offer the burnt offering to Hashem? Obviously, that's part of coming close to the mizbeach, where you have to wash your hands. Says Mao the Tema. Could have thought Hani Mili. We're on Chaf, yeah. Hani Mili avoided the makfa kapara. I could have thought that it's only the type of service that affects that's essential for the atonement. What type of service was that? That was either the last services of the sprinkling of the blood, or the burning of the kmitza, but the burning of the limbs, maybe you don't have to wash your hands for. Maybe you don't have to wash your hands for that. That's not essential to the atonement of the person bringing the sacrifice. Mashmalan, it comes to teach us that that even if you're just coming to bring the limbs, right? Yeah. Well, that, you also have to wash your hands. Yosser Rav Dimi, Amar Rabbi Yechanan. This is classic. Rav Dimi travels and he brings statements in the name of Rabbi Yechanan. And usually what Rav Dimi says is usually not accepted. And usually when Rabin comes, it's usually like corrected and done differently. Boy Ilfa. Rabbi Yechanan says over that Ilfa had a question. Ilfa and Rabbi Yechanan were friends, remember? They went out to do business. And says that they're going to push the wall over on these people that are leaving Torah. And so Rabbi Yechanan went back, and Ilfa continued. But anyway, Ilfa was the great Talmud Chacham. When he came back, he said that even though that I went to work, but if anyone can tell me a brisa that I can't find a support from a Mishnah, I'll throw myself into the sea. Boy, Ilfa asked the question. They did. They asked him, and he told them the answer. Yeah, that was in one of the Masechtas. It was in like Megillah or Tainus or something. So Ilfa has a question. According to the one that says, according to Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, says that the staying overnight does not affect the Kiddush Yadayim Raglaim. You do not need to wash your hands in the morning if you wash your hands at night and you didn't have when you had no Hesach Hadas. Make kiyar mar shifla. According to that opinion, what about the water in the kiyar? Let's take a look. He spells it out. He said, what do we say? What's the water for? The Kiddush Yadayim Raglaim, to wash the hands. Kiddush Yadayim Raglaim, gufayo le'paslulina. The washing of the hands themselves, staying overnight does not affect them. So therefore, the water also is not affected by staying overnight. Yeah. Or perhaps even the Kiddush Lu, the Kaddish Lu B'Kli. Maybe because it's consecrated in a holy vessel. We know the rule that anything in a holy vessel that's left overnight becomes pasul belina. When it comes daybreak, it becomes invalid. So we should say that the water that was in the holy vessel, nifsali, becomes pasul. That's the question. Do we say that it's no worse than the Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim itself? Or do we say that no, it is worse? It's in a holy vessel. Okay, that was Ilfa's question, according to where Dimi said the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Because the Rabban Amar Rabbi Yirmi Amar Rabami Amar Rabbi Yechanan. When Rabban shows up, he says like this, Hadar Pashad Ilfa, but Ilfa answered the question. He says, K'machlekes bezu, kach machlekes mezu. Machlekes Rabbi and Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, about if you have to wash your hands again in the morning. That same machlekes applies to the kiyar. Is the water that's left in the kiyar also invalid? According to Rebbe, yes. According to Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, no. Right? What do you mean cover? The Ram holds it's supposed to be covered. We don't hold like that. We wash Nagavasa with the water uncovered. Yeah. In Eretz Yisrael, they sell covered for the. Oh, really? It came with covered? Okay. Yeah. Amar Lefanav Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Bisna. Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Bisna says in front of.
What did he say? That the kier had a cover?
No. The Kier have a cover. Yeah, I think the Kier had a cover, right?
Yeah.
It did? In the pictures. He's asking if we have to cover our Negavasa. Josh says no. Okay.
Rashi said the water in the field became invalid overnight. Previous sanctification became invalid.
So what happened is, that was the Gemara's question. Does the water become invalid? Even a question was according to the opinion that says the previous sanctification is not invalid, but does the water get invalid? That was Ilfit's question. The Gemara answered so far where we're holding right now is that it's the same machlokes. According to the one that says previous sanctification is not invalid, the water is also not invalid. According to the one that says the previous sanctification is invalid, which is Rebbe, the water is also invalid. So it turns out that the Ilfit's question turns into a machlokes Rebbe and Rebbe Elazar bar Shimon. So, I'm on the fun of Yitzchak Bar Bisna. I don't know who Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Bisna is speaking to, because there were a lot of names there, but maybe he's talking to Ravin. Rebbe Atayim, maybe he's talking to Rabbi Yechanan. Who is he talking to? To Rabbami? He's talking to Rabbami. Oh, so interesting. Rebbe Atayim, okay. Rebbe, this is what you say. Elahachi Amar Rabasi Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Rabasi says in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, Mishmei Ilfa. I have that in brackets. In the name of Ilfa, Kir Shlei Shakim Miberav, Kadesh Mimeno, Vavedas Laila. If you did not put the kiyar into they had for it a well. If you would put the kiyar into the well, and because it was in the ground, it wouldn't become puzzle. The water was still part of the ground. That's not a problem. Water's out exposed all night in the lake. So the Gemara is going to mention that soon. So if it wasn't sunken in at night, I'm sorry. That's right. Tell them who donated the pulley. You remember? Okay. Anyone remember? There's a Mishnah that has a whole bunch of names of different people that did positive things. So if it wasn't sunken in the evening, you can use it for the service, to wash your hands for the service at night. The following day, you don't, you can't use it. Yeah. So he's saying that you can't use it. We asked, what does it mean? You have to look at these words carefully. Following day, he doesn't sanctify. What does it mean? Doesn't mean he doesn't need to, because we're following the opinion of Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon that he already washed it at night, doesn't need to in the morning. Dilma, if Slubalina, maybe what it means is you're not allowed to, because it became invalid because it was left overnight. Yeah, two possibilities. And we didn't answer the question. But you just answered the question. You said it's machlokes. It's a machlokes between Rabbi and Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon. Okay. So he's a little surprised that he answered the question that wasn't answered. Tashma, come and listen. You hear Shalom? Ben Katan, that's his name, after Dadlik Kiyar, was a fellow by the name of Ben Katan, that he made, his first name was Ben. He was the son of Katan. He made 12 spouts for the Kiyar. He used to only have 2 spouts. He made 12. He also made the pulley. Pulley? Who invented the pulley?
Ben Cotton.
I'm sure they had pulleys before Ben Cotton, but he made the one for the Kia. Oh, there goes. We're gonna find out who invented the pulley.
He made 12, or he added 10 or something.
Yeah, the 10. I think he added 10. That's how it was taught to me. Very good question, Josh. See, you're a contractor. Okay. Depends how much they paid, right? So, so that the water should not become invalid. My love, is it not? That it's even Rebbe Elazar Shimoni. That you see, look at what's happening here. Why did he make the pulley? Because he wanted to put it into the ground. But who said you need to put it in the ground? Why should it become invalid? Well, Rebbe would hold that it becomes invalid because you have to wash your hands in the morning, so therefore the water would also be invalid. But Rebbe Elazar Shimon, we weren't sure. Oh wow. I could just made the countdown pulley. Okay. Be the one that was running naked. Eureka. You know, who was Eureka? Okay.
I'm not looking at it.
So wasn't there like a water displacement or something? He was sitting in the bathtub and you realized how come they could measure something. He ran out. Eureka.
Okay, I'm looking.
So it must be if it's according even to Rabbi Elazar Shimon this question, so then we would say that if according to Rabbi Elazar Shimon it also becomes puzzle. So then it doesn't fit with what we said before. The Gemara says like it's Rebbe. This Mishnah that talks about that he made a muchni lakir, the pulley for the kiyar, so that it doesn't become puzzle. That's the opinion of Rebbe, who holds yes, I know you have to wash your hands in the morning anyway. Where says 1 second. But if you go back to that Mishnah, it's the Mishnah in Yuma. That Mishnah over there talks about
100%.
the Mishnah talks about another opinion of Rabbi Elazar Shimon. So obviously the whole Mishnah must be Rabbi Elazar Shimon. The Tani Reisha, because it was taught in the first part of that Mishnah, when the Kohen Gadol comes to the bull to do the sacrifice. Where was the par standing on Yom Kippur? It was standing between the ulam and the mizbeach, between the hallway, the entranceway, and the mizbeach. It was over there. I forget if it was 11 amas or a small area. Reisha, the Durham, the head was to the south. Panav Lamarav. It was situated towards the south, but its face was turned towards the Myrav, which was towards the Heichal. The Kain was standing on the eastern side of Panav Lamar, facing the Heichal. And that's how we would check it. Now, it needed to be slaughtered on that side. The problem is the north side is a machlekes where that is. Some say it's only opposite the north of the Mizbeach. Some say it's even between the Ulam and the Mizbeach. Some say that it's even on the area that's more eastern, which covers the other area. Now, if that's the case, Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon is the one that says Bein Ulam and Mizbeach is considered the north. You see, it's the opinion of Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon. Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon. It's Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon that says it. The Tanya, because we have a Bryce Ezud Tzafan. What is considered the north? Mikir Mizbeach Tzvayni Vad Kaisal Azar Tzvayni. The Keneged Kala Mizbeach Kulik Tzafan. Divrei Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's only the north of the Mizbeach. You have to draw a line from the corners of the Mizbeach north, and that's only within that. Yeah, it should be just that area right there. So they didn't do it exactly the way we would do it today. We would have color coded. Show me what they have there. Yeah. So now we're talking about number B in the notes in the art scroll. Number B would be the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon Maisef Hafin Olam Mizbeach. Rabbi Yossi Bar Shimon adds also what would be right on top of that B would be A. Rabbi Yossi Bar Shimon adds A as well. So Hafin Olam Mizbeach. And Rabbi Maisef Haf Makom Jisragle Akayin and Makom Jisragle Yisrael. Rabbi adds also C, which is the bottom of that, which is beneath it. Aval Min HaChalifais V'Lifnim. Now Chalifais is the up here is the area that's already after the ulam. After the ulam in the heichal is called Chalifais. Everyone agrees that that's possible. So you see, it's the opinion of Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon. The Gemara says, "V'tizbara." You think it's Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon? Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon, v'lei Rabbi. It's not Rabbi. Ash the Rabbi add the Rabbi Yosef bar Rabbi Yehuda Ma'aseh. If Rabbi adds the Rabbi Yosef bar Rabbi Yehuda, what does he add to Rabbi Yosef bar Rabbi Yehuda? He adds also the Rabbi adds also the place where the Kayanim stand and the Yisraelim stand. So Ma'aseh ad Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda Ma'aseh ad Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon like Ma'aseh. You think he's only adding to the very basic opinion? He's not adding to the. He's adding even more than Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon. So there should be no problem, according to Rebbe, if the animal is standing bein ulam alam mizbeach. According to Rebbe, that would be included as well as the north. There's a non-hachi kamrinan. This is what we meant to say. Isal kadaitach Rebbe. If it would enter your mind to say that it's Rebbe, look, maybe makam Jesus ragli kain, makam Jesus ragli Yisrael. Why did it have to be there? They just put it in another place. Put it there. There's more places to put it. You didn't have to put it there. It was Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon that would say you have to. Elamai, Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon. You want to say it's Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon? Look, Mikir Mizbeach Tzvein Ad Kais Elazar. It's fine. Why did it have to be even according to Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon? He definitely holds that it's allowed to be in the B area, from the Mizbeach outwards, all the way towards the wall of the Zara. And you didn't say that. You said it was Bein Olam Olam Mizbeach. How are you going to answer that? Because of the Kohen Gadol was weak, we didn't want to have him to walk. He was fasting. So if that's the case, so Hachanam Shem Chol the Kohen Gadol. So the fact that it was Bein Olam and Mizbeach is because we didn't want the Kohen Gadol to have to move a lot. So, okay, fine. That's what we're holding. Let's see. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. In other words, where we left off that we have no proof that Mishnah is Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon because it could even be Rebbe. Why didn't we say with the opinion of Rebbe? Because the Kohen Gadol was weak, and we situated it in a place where Rebbe and Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon would both hold that that's nothing, but it doesn't prove that that's Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, here we have a statement. Kiddush Yoda V'Raglav L'Chumas Adeshin. Person washes his hands and feet to do Chumas Adeshin, the Kohen. L'machar Ein Tzarech L'Kadosh. The following day, what does the following day mean? I guess when it gets light. When it gets light, he doesn't have to wash his hands. Because he already washed his hands at the beginning of the service. That's the beginning of the day. They start before dawn. The Chumas Hadeshin could have been from, when do they wait to the Chumas Hadeshin? From the rooster? Christ together? Does it have to get light to do Chumas Hadeshin? They would do between the rooster's crow and dawn.
Morning, dawn.
And the dawn.
The same time as the daf.
Same time as the daf, right. Okay. So, okay. Laman, who was Rabbi Yochanan referring to? Ila Rabbi, if it's according to Rabbi Amr, Pastelina. According to Rabbi, when it gets daybreak and comes dawn, then there's a problem. You have to wash the end. Ila Rabbi Shimon. According to Rabbi Shimon, I mean, you don't have to wash even for 10 days. Really, we're following Rabbi. The Lina, the Rabbanan, he, Maidi, the Mikresa Geva Tafale Pastelina. The concept of Lina by Kiddush is only a rabbinic decree. And Rebbe agrees that, and Rebbe would say that from Kresa Gever, you don't have to be concerned about the Lina. That this is, you're satisfied the Lina issue once it's already the rooster crowed. Okay. Rabbi Amar Loilam, Rabbi Elazar bar Shimoni. Rabbi says that it's really Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon holds that you don't have to wash your hands in the morning because you're already washed by night. Who's that? Rabbi Yochanan Devara B'tchilas Avayda V'lei B'seif Avayda. Rabbi Yochanan accepts Rabbi Elazar only if they at the beginning of the day, but not someone that washed his hands for at night, which is the end of the day, to last until the morning. Let's see if we can continue here. If we should stop. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. Ruach Havakainim Shiara, once the Kainim see that he descended, this is in Tamid, with the person that was taking the Shumas Adeshin, when his other Kainim saw that he came up to Mizbeach, the Hein Ratzu Ubo, they ran and they came near of a Kitchi Yadem Ragleim and Akir, and they washed their hands from the Kir. Now, Bish, like Malabaya, the Mukum Rebbe, according to Abaya, that says that Rabbi Yechon was following Rebbe. And he says that once the rooster crows, then there's no problem of Lina. Umayda Rebbe, the Mikres Gavet Zafale Paslina, Hamani Rebbe, we would say that this is the opinion of Rebbe. El Rav, the Mukhlak Rebbe Lazar Bar Shimon, El Rebbe Mikres Gavet Zafale Paslina. But according to Rebbe Lazar Bar Shimon, that says that, according to the opinion, that says that was the opinion of Rebbe Lazar Bar Shimon. But according to Rebbe, then it would be a problem in the morning, even after Kresa Gever, Hamani. So who would this opinion be? Rebbe, Paslina. How could the brothers wash their? If it would be Rebbe, how would the other kind of wash? If it was the opinion of Rebbe Paslina, then it would be a problem because it was too early. In Rebbe Lazar Bar Shimon, if it was Rebbe Lazar Shimon, I'm not feeling mikam to say Yamin Tzarech Lekadesh. Yeah, but why are we thinking that are they washing a second time? Oh, maybe they don't have to wash. I guess what it's saying. Maybe they don't have to wash. The Gemara says, really, it could be that it was Rebbe Lazar Bar Shimon. These are the new Kayanim that were not working the whole night. So that's why. Now they have to wash their hands. Okay, let's leave it over here. Okay, that's my ad, everyone. I'm holding by a boilo.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Eliezer.